Oh. All right.
Are you still struggling?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how this. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna work tonight. Well, I think I'm gonna be calling. I think I'm gonna be calling Comcast tomorrow. Yeah, I think so. Oh, okay. Hey, hold on. Maybe the stream isn't over. I say right now I'm not dropping any frames. Connection's excellent on my side. I'm seeing, you know, over 6,000 kilobits a second. All right, we'll see if this works. See if I can get back in the saddle. All right. Well, then there we go. So we'll pick up from there then. Oh man. What a ride. What a ride. All right. Oh. But yeah, I think now that we're good, we'll keep going. So picking up where we left off, like I said, I like the idea of weapons that grow with the characters. I think it's something that, if done right and done early enough, it can really play, you know, a pivotal role in a character's progression. But I think even if you introduce it later on in the game, like I said before, maybe joining a guild, or even finding something that is let's pull that up again. You know, if your character were to find a you know, a weapon that was in the possession of a storm giant, maybe it would have Storm's Fury. And granted, it's possible that at that point, you know, maybe they're already high enough level, but maybe they find a maybe they find it like laying in the ground. Maybe it's a great sword, but this was like a storm giant dagger. I have a little idea in what you don't like about ancestral weapons versus what you created. Yes. So I was trying to say that whenever my connection was starting to die. Thank you, Halftermain. First time here, and we'll be back. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it is 100% the point system that ancestral weapons really leaves me iffy with. You know, with something like Ascending Arms, you can design a weapon for a player, you can give it to them, and they know what they're going to have as they level up. Like with Smith's character and his Dawzimmer, this was something where I can preset this and I can just dash these out. And granted, you can see what you're going to get, but you know that you don't have this until you reach level 12. So you could have a weapon that's given to a player that is maybe I think I said before, like a poisoner's dagger given to them by a thieves guild. So maybe it's magic touched, maybe it has life drinker, and maybe it has viper's fang. Okay, so it has 3 different traits, this weapon, and they get it, you know, they get to level 5, they're approached by the thieves guild, and you're getting a +1 on attack and damage. When you kill a creature with it, you gain you recover some hit points equal to your proficiency bonus, and in addition to that, you gain resistance to poison damage, and you deal an additional 1d6 poison. Okay, cool. This is what you have. And you know that at level 10, it's going to bump up to a +2. You're going to gain some extra hit points because you're going to gain half your level's worth. And your damage, that extra poison damage, is going to increase, and you're going to be able to cast Ray of Sickness. So this is something that you can really just build at the beginning, and then just hand it to your player, and it's very passive. They know what they're gonna get. Whereas with ancestral weapons, as the DM, you have to remember to give them points. Okay, it's kind of in a way similar to why I never liked the initial the first inspiration system, where it was solely that the DM decided when a player got inspiration, or like, you know, it was for good role playing and stuff like that. I really feel like tying it to something mechanical takes another thing off of the DM's plate. Okay, when you don't have to worry about giving out spirit points, when you don't have to worry about, you know, giving your player this PDF to sit there, you know, before the session starts and say, hey, you have 3 spirit points, you should really spend some of those. And then, or, you know, like all of a sudden they're looking through their character sheet and they're like, you know, oh, I have 4 spirit points. I could have upgraded my weapon, like, you know, back then, and blah, blah, blah. You know, or just as a DM, you forget to give them some, and they go, you know, you go through months of adventure and you go, you know, 2 or 3 levels up, and suddenly they're like, well, hey, shouldn't I have had like these spirit points? Shouldn't I have gotten these? And like, you know, and granted, you could have a player that's very focused on it and they kind of push you to have that. But it's it's definitely one of those things where it takes away the guesswork when you're working with it. In a way, it's kind of, in a sense, similar to why I both love and hate the talent books. I'm not sure if this is something that I've ever talked about on stream. I don't know why these aren't coming up. Okay, that's weird. There we go. So it's kind of, in a sense, like the difference between feats and talents. You know, when you want to sit there and take a feat, okay, you go down to your character and you go into the features and traits, and here you go, here's all the things that you can have, and there is a lot, but guess what? There's more of. There's more talents. And when I always fucking hate this picture. That picture makes me laugh. You know, when you look through this, it's a lot, and it's a lot for a player to have to look at it, and you know, and this even says, like, you know, this talents can imbalance a game, reduce their ability scores by 2 to 4, you know, increase the average level by 1 for every 3 levels when calculating CR. You know, but even this one is, you know, like, when you know, you can do it different ways. So like on this one, every character starts with 1 talent, and at 3rd level and every 3 levels after that, so any level divisible by 3, they just gain another talent. Now that's fine, okay, that's cool. The way that I personally do it is that when you I do it right down here. If you don't wish to use the variant roll, you can instead acquire them as half feats. Each time you're eligible to take a new feat, you can opt to take 2 talents instead. So what I have done is I've said, very much the same way, you can use this to replace an ability score improvement. So when you reach level 4 and you're going to increase your, you know, your ability scores you can increase one by or two scores by one, or one score by two. Well, with this, you could take the agile feat and increase your dexterity score by one. You could take the witchcraft feat and increase your wisdom score by one. You could take fortunate and increase your constitution or something like that. So, I like talents. I think they're cool, and they can definitely allow you to really make an interesting custom character that is very unique and very specialized. But as I have ran with this book for years, there is so many times when my players level up and they get to level 4, they get to level 8, and they're like, okay, cool, I get to pick either an ability score improvement, a feat, or talents. They get analysis paralysis. What's the best one to take? Should I take this or should I take a feat? Also, if you just give them a free talent, it's like, well, there's literally 3 books worth. Which one do I do? Do I take one from book 1, 2, 3? It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And luckily, a lot of it is organized. Book 1 was the first one that they came out with, and it's more of the basic stuff, but it's the basic races, it's the classes, and it really just builds upon what they already had. Talent book 2, for example, this was more like miscellaneous stuff and some of the new races they introduced when they introduced like the Warforge, the Shifter, some of the Eberron books, and then they also introduced the Artificer, as well as additional class stuff. And then talent book 3 was where it was based on religions. It was based on some of the new, some more of the new races. It was different class stuff. And then it was also multi-class things. If you're a paladin sorcerer, you can take arcane fueled divinity. If you're a paladin warlock, you can also take that. So I liked it. I liked what they did. But it's a lot. It's a lot to look into. It's just a lot. But yeah, I like I said, I think they both have their place. Ancestral Weapons and Ascending Arms both have their place. I think if you're the kind of player and DM that really like the reward system of giving out points and allowing your player to have this book and letting them go through and really build their weapons. So not making talents for weapons, but a simple, in a sense, and that's the thing. It's like, it's kind of like, talent. I mean, it's just traits for them. Stream is good now. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, man. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think my internet just had a hiccup, and that was that was it. But yeah, I mean, even doing a speed test right now, I mean, we're up and about where I normally am. So this is fairly normal for me. So, which is good. Like I said, I think they both have their places. Mine's just a little bit more simple. It also needs very much refined. I'm definitely going to, now thinking, actually looking into this, I might actually take some inspiration from this. I might kind of work a little bit around this and see how it's balanced out. Obviously I can't say that 100% of this is balanced, but I imagine this is balanced and play tested to a degree. So yeah, we'll look into it. Something though that I did want to talk about is that I recently had an opportunity in one of my games to introduce some of the unearthed arcana to one of my games. And the specific bit of arcana, of unearthed arcana that I got to is for the rogue. So that's the ranger. We need to go a little bit further. There it is. And I'm actually going to try and add this to the character. I'm going to have to add it as a feat because that's really the only way that it can work. But in my last episode, actually it's not my episodes, in my last session of my library game, I had one of my players who is the rogue. They were impressed with an action that an NPC took. So to give you a little bit of backstory about how this came to be, my players had just returned back to the town of Phandalin, and they went to speak with the owner of in a way it's like building your artifacts from the 1E AD&D&Chill. Oh god. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, okay, I can see that. So the what I ended up doing was the players were back in the town of Phandalin, and they went to speak with the folks over at the Miners Exchange. And the thing to understand about the Miners Exchange, if you are unfamiliar with it, and this really isn't like a huge reveal for anyone that might be in my stream, because it's not a character that I've introduced to anyone in this particular, in any of my online streams. But the owner of the Phandalin the owner of the Phandalin Miners Exchange is a woman named Halia Thornton, and she is a member of the Zentrum. And she is, you know, like it says here, working to bring Phandalin under her control, and she can become a valuable patron to the adventurers who don't cross her. So I have yet to, in any of my other campaigns, introduce this character. And for the most part, that's because there's really not a whole lot of reason to go and talk to Halia or to go to the Miners Exchange unless you have valuables that you want to get weighed and get checked on. And also if you find like stuff out in the hills and you want to get it like excavated and things. So it's not really something specific that a lot of campaigns I feel would have an interaction with, but maybe it's a you know, maybe it's something that can play into something else. That's actually why my library group got introduced to her. They failed to clear out the mine of were-rats. When they went to the Mountains Toe Gold Mine to escort Don John there, they did not end up brokering any kind of deal or doing anything that got the were-rats out of that mine. Spoiler alert for, you know, for the Dragon of Icespire Peak campaign. So when the players left there, they told the dwarves and Don John to head back to Phandalin because they had some other things that they had to go and attend to. Well, when they returned to Phandalin, they wanted to go and talk to Don John, who was over at the Miners Exchange. Well, when they got there, they found out that she was livid with the fact that there were still these were-rats in there, and these dwarves were basically like, you know, look, we don't really have much we can do, you know, there's too many of them, they're too strong, they're fast, they can also shape change, like we don't really stand a chance. And so she is she's pretty pissed, and she's also kind of annoyed that when the players were there, they didn't just handle it. So the players, to their, you know, for in their argument, they have a lot of stuff that they have to deal with. They're dealing with a cult, they're dealing with a shadow cult. They have to go and hunt down and kill Gorthok the Thunderboar, who is rampaging in the forest to the north. They have to go and find supplies for a mine, or for a mill that needs to be built in the town of Phandalin to entice a Dabra Gwyn down there. They have to go and clear out the Axholm Fortress, and they also have to go and investigate this strange location where some weird stuff is going on. So I feel truly demonic for my PC. For the PC my DM is having to deal with. I never said I felt bad about it. Brubel. I feel truly demonic. Explain what you mean, and then we will address it, because that is far too vague. So when my players were interacting with Halia, the paladin of the group said that they wanted to go up and they wanted to put their hand on Halia's shoulder to like reassure her that when the first opportunity came up that they could assist and help, that they would. And I wanted to play up that Halia doesn't like to be touched. So she very quickly swung around and like got his hand off of her, and in the process of doing so, like put him in a headlock. Like she quickly grabbed his arm, spun around him, grabbed his head, and was basically like holding his arm to one side and like pushing his head to the other. And the rogue was enamored with this. She's like, I love this. And she's like, can you show me how to do this? And you know, I was just playing in the moment. I was like, yeah, come back later tonight at midnight and I'll show you how to do that. So I had 2 weeks to address this. I had 2 weeks to figure out how I wanted to do this. And what I decided was that her interest in this was going to manifest into a introductory sparring session that would test the rogue's skills to see if she was capable enough of joining the Zentrum, because if she was interested enough in that move and was like, you know, enamored with it, Halia would, you know, have use of her. So the way that I did it was that when she went to see her, she got there and Halia poisoned her. I had her roll a Constitution save as Halia handed her a flower, and she smelled it. She failed. She got like a 12 or something, and it was I think the DC was 14 or 14 or 15 in my head, and she passed out. She wakes up 45 minutes later in a dark basement. Granted, she has superior dark vision, so she can see, but she can see Halia sitting in the corner at a staircase. She's sitting on a chair, and she can see, or she's sitting in a corner on a barrel and she can see that the room is lined with tripwires. The ground has a grid pattern, and she can see that some tiles are lifted and some aren't, and that like the boxes and barrels that are in the room are very like strewn and like haphazardly placed. And Halia says, you know, if you want to learn how to do that, you need to come over here. So it was a skill challenge. So I told my player, you have to make 3 skill checks. You cannot use the same check for all 3. Like once you use one, you've used it, and you have to get over to her. So she used stealth initially to try and like squeeze her way through the tripwires, and then she used acrobatics. What was it? She used acrobatics to jump in Haley is a secret spy, Zentrum and all, yeah. So wait. You know what? Actually, I think I may have introduced Halia in P5 at one point. It's possible that she talked with Zash. It's very possible that she talked with Zash. Or no, maybe that was Lenine. I don't know. I know he joined a group, because I remember he went and talked with Sparkles. That was a while ago. I'd have to really look back into that. Super Rift, but not the Zentrum. She talked to Luna when she was. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. I think she told you about Mozan Stormfoot. Stormfoot. She told her about Azulor. Okay, yeah, that's right. Because, yeah, I know that you guys had asked around. Yeah, okay. So that was a while ago. But yeah, so Nim the rogue was able to get over there. Like I said, she used what did she use? She used I know she used acrobatics. I know she used stealth. She used an unconventional one. Oh, that's right. She used stealth. She used perception and acrobatics. Because she used, at one point she was on these barrels that were precariously sitting there, and Halia kicked the footing out from under them, and she used perception to see where best to hang on the wall. But when she did, she grabbed onto the acid that Halia had put on the wall. And when Nim jumped over, Halia was like, oh, that was really smart. Like, I like what you did here. And Nim's like, thanks. Why did you do this? And she's like, I just wanted to see how well you were at, your skills. And she's like, here. She hands her a silk scarf. And the moment she does, Nim starts wiping her hands. And she's like, oh, thanks. She investigated it first. She's like, is this covered in acid or something? And I was like, no. And she's wiping her hands. And as she does, I said, okay, as you have this cloth around your hand, Halia, I rolled a dexterity check and beat her DC, or beat her armor class. I was like, Halia reaches forward and she grabs the scarf around your hands. She currently has you restrained. Roll initiative. And then we started this combat between the two of them. And it was Halia's way of training her and like really assessing her skill level. So we played this up for a little bit, and then the rest of the party showed up because Nim at that point had been gone for like a solid hour, and they were like, you know, we want to make sure she's all right. And at the end, the mechanical benefit that she got out of this is that I gave her the ability to use the Cunning Strike, and it's because Nim's player had come to me saying that while she has a few magic items, while she has a familiar, and she has, you know, access to some spells because of her magic items, she feels like in combat she doesn't nearly have as much to do, because she's really just focusing on the damage. But she always complains that her damage output isn't nearly as good as the rest of the party, because the party has a paladin, it has a barbarian, it has a heavy weapon fighter, so there's a lot of damage output, and she definitely felt like she was lacking. And I tried to quell these issues over time and, you know, address them, but I decided when I saw this Cunning Strike ability, I'm like, this is going to be something really cool that I can introduce, that is something that Halia, as a representative of the Zentrum, can train her in and teach her. So she offered Nim the opportunity to join the Zentrum, and she's now able to do these Cunning Strikes. So I need to make that into a feat. Now I do want to go back and address something that Brubel said before: a peace domain cleric and a chrono-urgy cleric. Okay, hold on. D4. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I feel truly demonic for the PC my DM is having to deal with. All right, so second level chrono-urgy, as a reaction after you or a creature within 30 feet makes an attack, makes any d20 test, you can force them to re-roll. Okay, and you can use that twice. And the domain feature of a peace domain is that as an action, you can choose a number of creatures within 30 feet and give them an additional d4 on any d20 test that they make. That can be used a number of times equal to proficiency. Interesting. Had a debate on paralysis from a carrion crawler. Character fails the save, so paralyzed. Do they fall prone? So here's my perspective on that, because I have had to I've had to adjudicate that in the past. So first off, a carrion crawler does not say that it knocks a creature prone. It is that they are paralyzed. If a character has a wide stance, right, exactly. Raw does not say prone. But here's my perspective. If you drop to 0 hit points and you are paralyzed and unconscious, you are also prone because you fall over. That's carrion crawlers suck. Yeah. So yeah, a carrion crawler straight up does not knock them prone. But if a carrion crawler drops you to 0 hit points with the attack, you are knocked prone and paralyzed and you are unconscious. Because anytime that you, in my opinion, as a DM, anytime that you drop to 0 hit points and you are unconscious, then you are prone. But if you don't drop to 0 hit points, no. There's nothing in their stat block that says that they go prone. So no. Yeah. Raw does not say prone. This does not make you prone. Otherwise it would be. You know, until the poison ends, the target is paralyzed, you know, and prone. So, but it doesn't. So yeah, that would be my call. Carrion crawlers suck. Carrion crawlers don't suck. Carrion crawlers are great. They're a great monster that just wants to hug you with its tentacles and wants to give you all the little spicy kisses. Yeah. I called it like getting hit with a taser, though. I can see that. I could see the argument of if this dealt lightning damage. Okay. I mean, hey, and that's the thing, you know, it's the difference between different DMs. You know, I think if your body is like seizing, again, you know, it's kind of how you have to interpret, you know, what is your character doing in that moment. Like I said, the way that I have always done it is that when you drop to 0 hit points and you're unconscious, you fall prone. But paralyzed in this case does not say prone. So, or this stat block doesn't say prone. I wouldn't say, unless like something happened outside of that. Okay, like if you were climbing up a rope and we're trying to get to the top of like a cliff and there was a carrion crawler under a rock and they bit you on your way up and you failed the save and you are paralyzed, you're gonna fall down the, you know, 10-20 feet, take the poison, you're gonna take falling damage, and then you're gonna be prone until the poison wears off. But just the straight bite, now. Nope, I wouldn't say so. Man, I think what Brubel was talking about whenever he said about unleashing a demonic is like unleashing a PC onto their DM. I think they're talking about how Emboldening Bond and Chronal Shift allow you to like allow players to keep re-rolling and like adding stuff, and then you could like add guidance on top of that. And you could do like silvery barbs and stuff. So fun little ways to look at stuff. Okay, can I just say I hate how Wizards like does their formatting for some of this stuff, because it is rough. Actually, this is a lot better. They must have changed it. It used to be like all choppy and shit, and I hated it. All right, we want poison, we want trip, and we want withdraw. Did not want underline, wanted bold. Oh, open something up. And yeah, if you don't remember this ability from the Unearthed Arcana that we talked about when this was released, basically whenever a rogue deals sneak attack damage, you can forego some of the damage to do one of these effects. So For example, you can make a creature drop an item that it's holding. So bright those I know. Believe me, I know. All right. Okay, so the snippet is going to be, you can reduce the damage. How can I put this? When you deal sneak attack damage, you can reduce that damage by a number of d6. No, we're not going to put that. You can reduce that damage you can forego a number of sneak attack. Damn it. How can I word this? How can this snippet be worded? When you do sneak attack damage, you can reduce the damage by foregoing rolling a number. No. You can reduce the number of sneak attack damage dice to add an effect to your attack. In a debate on Rogue Assassin sneak surprise auto crit. This is UA 6. This is playtest 6. This is the most recent. It's the one that introduced the Cunning Strike ability. All right. What is your... I think we're talking about this Death Strike at level 17. Is that what you're talking about, Havderman? Which one are you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. No, it's the Assassinate one. You have advantage on attack rolls. In addition, any hit you score against a creature that is surprised is a critical hit. Okay. I guess what's... To what aspect of this are you curious of my take? Like, what part of this do you want to know my opinion on? Does the assassin get a crit from hiding in stealth? Does the assassin get a crit from hiding or being in stealth? Oh. Well, how I define surprise is right here. I know it says it determines. Okay, hold on. If you're surprised. So, okay, so if a rogue, yeah. So here's what I would say. The player, so if the player does make a successful stealth check, and is you know, their passive is low enough that they don't see them, they are surprised. Now, if a character were to like try and hide in combat, you would have to take, for one, the hide action. So, and that's what that's listed under unseen targets. Or it's wait, that's sight or vision. Yeah, vision and light. Isn't it? When you attack a target that you can't see, blah 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 blah. If you are hidden, both unseen and unheard, when you make an attack. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, cunning action. I would say if you are a rogue and you cunning action hide and you take that, you know, you roll your stealth against their passive, right, but you can take it as a bonus action. You know, you can take it as a bonus action. But if you cunning action hide and you make a stealth check and that succeeds against a monster's passive perception, then you are effectively hidden from them. But I definitely think that it is deterministic based on you know, based on a whole, you know, on a litany of different things that you have to take into consideration. Like, if, for example, you and your party are fighting in a single room that has no obstacles or anything like that, and you're a Goliath, you're not going to be able to hide. You know, you're not going to be able to successfully sneak around and, you know, get into some kind of, you know, some kind of like stealth situation. You know, but for example, here, let me pull up this window real quick. Surprise Ross says you have to do it before their turn. So Surprise Raw, that is that they are Yeah, can't take actions. Yeah, I mean, surprise is a condition that is basically put on a creature that stops them from doing anything in the first round of combat. But the thing is like, you know, I would argue that I mean, I guess it would have to happen at the beginning of combat if you're really getting into like, if you're getting into like the real gritty, crunchy, raw rolling. Surprise can only happen in the first round, because any character or monster that doesn't notice a threat is surprised at the start of the encounter. But the argument there could be, you know, the threat is surprised is a separate aspect from at the start of the encounter. This does not say that that surprise can only happen at the start of an encounter. And like it says, if you're surprised, this is the mechanical aspect. If you're surprised, you can't move or take an action on your first turn in combat, and you can't take a reaction until that turn ends. So like, this is giving you the explanation of what surprise does to you on your first round of combat. But you could, a GM could argue in the favor of the player to say, if you are unseen from them, they are surprised. And that's more rules as intended. You know, that's definitely not raw. In my opinion, I would say if you make a successful sneak attack, like, you know, like if this boat right here is the battlefield, and you know, you want to well, that's actually not a great map because that's really open. Here, so if on this map, you know, this character right here, Marigold, was a rogue and wanted to stealth around the backside of this post right here, and then rolled a rolled their stealth check, and you know, they failed it, and then threw a dagger, I would say, you know, it's made with advantage, because you know, that's part of being unseen and, you know, unheard. But I would say that you could argue that they might be surprised. If an enemy is engaged with another creature, a rogue is hidden, does the rogue get the surprise? Yeah, again, I think if we're going with the notion that if the rogue uses their cunning action hide, and they succeed against that monster's passive perception, yeah, I would say so, because that's the whole thing about like the assassin character, is that like you are building for that. That's the whole thing that your character is good at. It's assassinating people that can't see you. So, oh, you couldn't even see what he was doing up there. Poor Marigold. Now, personally, I don't know if I would necessarily go that route. I mean, you like, when you read assassinate, do you separate this mechanic from the next one as a DM? You have advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't taken a turn in combat yet. Period. End of sentence. In addition, any hit you score against a creature that is surprised is a crit. You know, again, I think it's all up to interpretation, but yeah, I mean, the rogue in my group is an assassin rogue, and I have allowed them to get, you know, to have that surprise mechanic whenever it wasn't the first round in combat. So. Oh yeah, that's right. She also gouged out the eye she cut the eyes of Halia. That's right. All right, back to wording up this feat. Yeah, so this is a talent that she took. She took the talent Gouge. Once per long rest. Yeah, here it is. You can temporarily blind a creature when you use sneak attack with a piercing weapon. So you can treat a spear as a finesse weapon. Additionally, on your turn, you can choose to gouge a creature's eyes after a successful sneak attack with a piercing weapon. The creature makes a Constitution saving throw, and if they fail, they are blinded until the end of your next turn. So, and that can be once per short or long rest. I don't know why it's just long rest down there. But it's once per short or long rest. So yeah, it's, does she get a trial too? No, Halia was really impressed with her tenacity, her survival instincts. She was all gung-ho about it. She was pissed. It was basically like Nim jumped on her back as this wily little force gnome and like raked her dagger across her eyes, and it sliced right across. She had blood dripping down. It was pretty great. I loved every minute of that. I loved the whole fight. I had this whole like introductory to the Zentrum thing that was that I got to speak to her. So I was thinking she made her actually blind. No, yeah, it's temporary. It's basically blinding her. If it's a Cyclops, oh god. Well, I guess you could technically blind it as well. You know, maybe the you know, yeah, you could just be it's less, you know, it's more blind, has no mechanical benefits, but you know, you really went for it on that one. When you deal sneak attack damage, you can reduce the number of sneak attack damage dice to add an effect to your attack. If a cutting strike DC equals, I need to look up snippet codes. If you've never added your own homebrew to D&D Beyond, One-Eyed Pirate, I'd be all right. Wait, I thought I had a One-Eyed Pirate before. Now there's a Warforged Pirate. That'd be an interesting character. They have an eye patch, but as they remove it, it's just fully gone. No, you know what I would love to see? I would love to see a pirate who has blind sight, who has an eye patch, but like their one eye is blind and their other eye is good, but they want to keep it covered so it doesn't get hurt. if you're ever looking to add your own homebrew to D&D Beyond, if you Google snippet code D&D Beyond, this is like one of the first links. I mean, it's, as you can see, it's, you know, was posted on here a long time ago. But it gives you like how to type stuff into your snippet codes down here, so it does the maths for you. So with this, wait a second, for the gouging conversation, if it's a Cyclops, one-eyed pirate, wait, what do you mean for the gouging conversation? I don't know what you mean. Dexterity modifier. Okay, so we need all right, so we need this. It equals save DC. Actually, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna hard key it. So it's gonna be 8 plus proficiency. Yep. 8 plus proficiency plus modifier dex. There we go. All right, when you do a sneak attack damage, you can reduce the number of sneak attack damage dice to add an effect to your attack. If a cunning strike requires a saving throw, the DC equals that. Blindness. Never mind, moving on. Well, I mean, like I said, blindness, even if it was a one-eyed creature, blindness would still take effect, because blindness is a condition. So, yeah, blinded is a, you know, when you're blinded, it's a condition, and it's that you can't see, you automatically fail ability checks, and your attacks have disadvantage, attacks against you have advantage. So, all right. All right, we're gonna erase that. We're gonna chop that down. We're actually gonna put that at the end and create feet. All right. I don't know if I can actually put these in here, but I am going to try. Cost is 1d6. Poison. Trip. And withdraw. I don't know how well that's gonna format. All right, we're gonna do dex save or drop one item. Poison. Is con save or poisoned for 1 minute. Target can repeat save at end of its turns. Trip is dex save or knocked prone. And withdrawal is move half speed half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. Cool. Save. I don't think there's anything in here that we need to do because it's not an action per se, but I am going to add it as an action. So we're going to add Cunning Strike. This is a... We're going to put it down in special. And I want to copy everything over into this. All right, now that we got that, let's load up her character sheet. And we'll go into features and traits. We'll come down here and we will add Cunning Strike. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I was like, why is that so big? Oh, you know why? It's because it says it's plus 16. Shit. Hold on. Let's delete that. Let's reload your character. Let's go back into here. We gotta... Shit, I knew I was gonna mess this up. I want it unsigned. Yep, I want it unsigned because I want it to be like, you know, the DC. All right, Cunning Strike. DC blank. Yeah, we'll just do that. Yeah, it's fine. Actually, we'll just do, we'll just add one more word. Cunning Strike effect DC. Perfect. Save, go back down to actions, edit this. Pop that into there. Save. Save it again. Reload her sheet. It's probably not going to update for a little while just because that's how D&D Beyond is. So probably still say plus. Oh no, perfect. Cutting Strike effect DC 16. And if we go over to here, there we go. Perfect. When you deal sneak attack damage, you can reduce the number of sneak attack damage dice. Blah. Nice. And then you can click it to actually see everything. That is perfect. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. I meant to close that earlier. All right. Yeah. I think gotta look at something real quick. Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I think tonight's gonna be an early night. My vision actually just blurred really bad, and I'm extremely tired. So I really did just tonight especially want to talk about the ascending arms. I kind of want to do the comparison to the ancestral weapons. I wanted to get that feat set into there. So I do apologize for the stream being fairly short tonight. It was only about 2 hours. Normally we go a lot longer. Normally we go like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours. But I do have work tomorrow. And also the frustration of this internet really like kind of kicked my butt tonight. So I think I'm gonna call it for the night because I kind of accomplished everything I wanted to do. So yeah, if you like this kind of stream, you know, you like sitting here chilling, talking, you know, hanging out and just asking questions and, you know, just relaxing for a bit, talking about some D&D and listening to some lo-fi, yeah, come on back. I appreciate it. You know, I love doing these streams. I've just been, exhaustion's been hitting me rough today with the heat. So, yeah, well, and thank you Hafterman. I must say you have very interesting questions and I very much appreciate that. So I would look forward to your questions, because that's the kind of stuff that I love, is like digging into like crunchy questions that you know take consideration. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing what happens with your the ascending arms. Yeah, like I said, I plan on trying to do some stuff that's like magic weapons as well, like wands and staves, rods and stuff, and like arcane focuses, because I think that in itself has you know, that would have a big play on it, because sure, you can be somebody whose grandfather was a master swordsman and you're taking up his weapon and going out there and adventuring with it, but you may also be, you know, the acolyte studying under a great cleric, and they have a spell casting focus that was important to them and they have passed away, and you are picking up where they left off. So it's going to be something that I want to do. I also want to do armor. Arcane doesn't need to be a crow's foot. Arcane focus doesn't need to be a crow's foot. Yeah. Will you welcome chatter about ascending arms in Kel's Corner? Yeah, if you have questions, if you have suggestions, you know, pop them over there, put them in the Homebrews channel. You can actually just reply to the ascending arms images in there. So if you are curious, if you want to continue the conversation, definitely the Discord is where to do that. So if you are interested in chatting with the rest of the community and continuing this stuff outside of the streams, the link is right above me, or you can click the about button below the stream and go to the Discord over there. I'm considering something for pets and similar. I'm not gonna lie, I actually would not do pets. And I don't want this to sound like it's it may that, like, the way that I said that may sound like that was shutting down a conversation, but there's a specific reason why I won't do pets, and that's because it's already done. Stibble's Codex of Companions. With this, letting your bond strength being something that is able to be built up over time with pets and stuff, you could just simply say something like you would take this and you would instead say, okay, your pet is either bonded with you, like they either like you or they don't, okay? But or it's like as long as they are bonded with you, you get this benefit, and you get this based on the level that you are, or something like that. Like you could even truncate these really, and come up with like different things based on this, where it's you know, because this is like you have to be level 1 you know, to get all of this stuff. You have to be level 2 for this. So I would say truncate this, give some of these abilities early on with just like levels 1 through 5 or something like that, and then go from there. I mean, it's limited to the degree of it's not tied to your level, but your bond level, I mean, it has you know, feats and stuff essentially for your characters. Again, the only difference is that they're not leveling up, okay? But personal, like, if that's something that you think, if that's something you would be interested in working on, have at it. Be my guest. I think when you, personally speaking, I think there are so many different resources and supplements and books about companions that it would be difficult to try and come up with, like, I mean, it would be difficult to try and come up with another system, you know, like coming up with something else is, you know, it's just adding to that complication, you know. I mean, like right here we have Stibbles, which has bond strength, okay, and so with Stibbles, you know, every, you know, as you build your bond with one of your companions, they can get different boons. Now you can argue that maybe they get more, maybe they can, you know, maybe you can give them more as you go up, maybe they can be trained into them. They seem to stagnate after a while. Well, that's the thing, but you know, that's because these companions are not meant to be a they're not meant to be like, you know, the an entire class feature or something like that. Like, there is going to be a limitation of utility. Even with those, even with ascending arms, there's a limitation of utility. You know, it's every 5 levels you're getting something, but 5 levels might be a year. I mean, hell, my library game, it took them an entire year to get to level 5. So, but you know, like I said, there's just so many different resources. For example, the DM's Lair Tamed Companions. This is an entire resource that offers rules for taming companions. You know, it's how to approach them, it's how to tame them, and then once you have them tamed, this literally has classes. Like, you can have a combat companion, you can have a social companion, so this is a mount companion, and like each one of these has their own things and they level up themselves. So yeah, exactly Afterman. These are basically PCs. So, and that's the thing. It's like with this one, it's just a different resource that plays it in a different way. You know, so you have to train them, like it says here. You know, when you have to have resources, you have to take time, you have to train them, you have to do some checks, and you know, with this, it's like, okay, the combat companion can really be anything. Okay, Anime, who is a bird, you basically just take a stat block and you say, okay, this is the tamed companions from the DM layer. And just for reference there, Halftermain, if there is anything that I show on this stream that is like a PDF or anything, if you go to my Discord, there is a channel in there known as the Archives, and it has a link to my Dropbox where I have a link to the D&D books, and any PDF that I show on here is available in there that I share, because D&D is about sharing resources. Because if I could give you my book to borrow for a little bit of the Sunken Isles, I would. You know, if you were like, hey, I want to check out the Sunken Isles, can I borrow your book? I'd say absolutely, here you go. But guess what? I can't physically give you this, but I have access to the PDF, and so can you. Same name on Discord, yeah. It's Kelf1. So, like I said, or you can click the About button below the stream, and you can join the server there. So, because there's a big old Discord button in there, and that'll get you right to us. But yeah, definitely check that out. Like I said, Tamed Companions by the DM layer, and this one is very specifically like leveling them up. So a combat companion gains proficiency in strength saving throws and proficiency in athletics and intimidation. So it's kind of like the soldier in a sense. At first level, they gain the ability to they gain proficiency with weapons. If they don't have weapons, they can use their natural weapons. So a companion that does not have weapons, for example, cannot fire a crossbow, but could potentially grasp a sword or a dagger in their jaw. So taking Anime, for example, because that's you know, I kind of feel like a good representation of that, could fly around with a dagger in its hand, or, you know, its claw, or a sword. A companion cannot use a weapon as part of a multi-attack unless it uses unless such a use is part of the multi-attack feature. A companion also selects a fighting style from the fighter class, and at 16th level it gets to do this again. Second level they get second wind. At third level they gain proficiency in armors, so you could actually have your companion in armor. They gain ability score increases, which allows them you know, to increase their stats as they go up. And it also says on here that they're unable to select a feat. I would say that would be really dependent on the DM to allow that, but I would probably say, like, okay, instead of an ability score increase, you could maybe use like these bond boons from Stibbles to kind of supplement that. And then we have extra attack, and then you know, keen awareness, where you get advantage on perception checks, and then action surge. Mounts get some trample abilities, they get some additional armor, and they get a speed advantage. And then social creatures, they get like limited telepathy, and they actually get some casting stuff. So there's different, you know, there's different things with this one. And then on top of that, there's also Dazzle Boots, Index of the Strange and Familiar, which is another kind of I want to be a Pokemon trainer, I want to have a bunch of animals book. Oh wait, we got a page display, show them, there we go. So this particular document by Gelatinous Cubicles, this actually has an arcanozoology wizard that is able to cast Find Familiar, but with like a higher level of accessibility to their repertoire. So you got like the Grick Wormling, the Griffin Fledgling, a little Hellpug. Love this little guy. All kinds of cool different things. So and the subclass itself is more about having access to those, and then you have some magic items that are focused towards it. I know I've talked about this one before. It's this staff. I don't think this is the staff of the Sojourner. Fart. Which one was? Maybe it is. Featherfall. Blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, no, this is the Cherrywood staff. And yeah, some additional monsters. I thought this one had. I thought this one had some stuff about having some animal companions beyond subclass. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Yeah, I knew that this one had like additional small versions of monsters. So if you wanted an owlbear cub or, you know, like a mimicling, you know, that's something you could have. Little manticore kitten and then, you know, hell puppy. Let's see if I have anything else. Let me look at my folder real quick. I don't think I have anything more that's specifically around animals. To lost poisons, tables. I do have one specifically on dogs. This is one about if you want to have a dog. What is the one I have up now? This is Dazzle Boots. This is Dazzle Boots Index of the Strange and Familiar, a collection of arcanozoologist studies. So this one, this was a sick one that I found a while back. So with this is more about like if you want to have a dog companion and you can give it different abilities and traits. Now this Secret of Nim, probably spelled on steroids. Yeah, that's it. So right here, this personally is more in line with what kind of what like Ancestral Weapons is working with, in a sense. So dog traits, for every 3 traits you increase the CR of the creature. So if you're trying to create a companion, like if you look at this one up here, you know, they have keen hearing and bite and stuff like that, and you have a magic dog familiar, but if you wanted to give it, like if you wanted to make one that was a CR 3, okay, then it would have like 9 traits basically. So you could give it agile, you could give it guardian, you could give it tough, you could give it tracker, you give it wings. If you wanted it to be able to fly, give it magic smell or smell magic to be able to detect magic. This is basically what Bo does in my Pathfinder game. Or, you know, some examples that are already on here. A Dwarven Mind Dog. It has Rat Hunter, Strong Will, Team Initiator, Tracker, and Watchdog. This is all in the archives. This is in the D&D books. This is from a long time ago, but it's in there. Yeah, it's pretty far back in the pretty far back in there. But yeah, so something like this, you could almost take something like this and expand upon it in your you know, with other creatures. So you know, like I love this one, you know, the Nomish Trinket Retriever, just this, you know, goofy looking dog that just has an item, but it has the smell magic, and it has, you know, keen smell and hearing. A halfling riding mastiff. I mean, like, this is the kind of stuff that I think works really well, and it allows that customization for what you want to do, but it's also not making it something that is completely overpowered, and it's not getting to the point where it has its own class, or you're having to worry about feats and stuff. Like, you can make this dog like once and then be done with it, or maybe you do train it. Okay, maybe you get a large dog, and they start traveling with you, and first, you know, you give it tough, and maybe you give it agile and gripping bite, okay, and that's it, and it's a CR1, and then you know, you level up a little bit, and your dog's CR increases maybe like 1 CR for every 2 levels that you go up. So you get them at level 1, and at level 3 you get to pick, you know, a few more traits, and maybe you come up with a couple, or maybe you get to like pick 2 more traits. Again, it's something that could be worked into. I don't necessarily know if you would want to go with something like Ascending Arms. Now, one could argue you could take something like this and put Ascending Arms onto them. Maybe you give your dog a collar that gives them a +1 to their attack. You know, it's a +1 collar, so it's giving them you know, +1 to their AC. Or maybe you want them to be like a dwarven mind dog, and you make this thing that goes around their face that is magically enchanted, that allows them to bite harder. So maybe it's a plus, maybe it gets like magic touch, and it gets damage evolution, where, you know, at first level it's you know, at first level it's like 1d6, at 5th level it's 1d8, 10th level 1d10, and at 15th level it's 1d12. So didn't mean to grab your attention. Oh, it's fine. I mean, it was a simple question, and I mean, I'm glad to elaborate on it. With the right wizard, enough money, anything is possible. Goddamn right. You're goddamn right. But yeah, so like I said, if you are interested in any of those PDFs, if you want to check any of those out, head over to the Discord. There's a lot in there, and not only do I have those books, but I have adventure modules in there. I have maps, I have tokens, there's all kinds of stuff in that. So the DM creates reasons for all the money to go away quickly. Yeah, well, the players do stuff that causes the DM to have to make money go away quickly. So yeah, but I think that is probably going to be it. I just clicked this and I don't even know what this was. Moondragon? Did I see Moondragon? Adult Comet Dragon? There we go. Ancient Moondragon. That's a thing. If you're interested in this one, it's in the DM. Yeah, it is. It is great art, actually. Sun and Moon Dragons. Planetary Dragons. Yeah, look at that. That's just great. Kylus, the Dimensional Dragon. Yeah, if you're, yeah, that was Spectre Creations. Vanadar / Nylord didn't do anything. Bye bye 1 diamond. Neither did Maggie. Maggie did. Maggie saved Thistle. Otherwise, it would have been Thistle. You know, Thistle would have been dead. Cosmic Dragonborn? Actually didn't know this. So this is the thing. I buy PDFs and stuff, and then I don't read them, and I just sit on them. Hit point. Oh, okay, that's fine. What do you get though? Walking speed increases. Your tails are natural weapons. You can make unarmed strikes with that's baller. One of your tails deals bludgeoning damage equal to 1d4 plus strength. Other deals cold damage. Okay, that's pretty sick. Moon Dragon orbital movement. When you're within 60 feet, you can use a bonus action to move up to half your speed. Nebula, that's sick. Sick. All right, yeah. So yeah, like I said, if you are interested in that, check that out. Head over to the Discord. It's in the archives. And yeah, I will see you guys later this week on Thursday when we do the first 15. Where, so those of you that are new, oh man, I'm gonna butcher your name every time I look up in it. I do apologize in advance. But if you are interested in video games, I do a stream here on Thursdays at 9:30 Eastern time, where I play some video games for 15 minutes each. Normal. Pronounce it normal. I'll get you. So yeah, it's 3 games, 15 minutes each. We give them a rating, and then every Sunday I do a stream where I run a live play game with Stacy, who's in here, and you know, a bunch of other folks that are in the Discord. So yeah, if you're interested, hang out, come back, we'll chat, and I'd love to see you again in the future. And to everybody else that's watching, thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Sorry about all the technical issues tonight, but I think we recovered pretty well. So we've been I wish it was every week. It is every week for me. Say it in a Norse voice. There have there mean. I screwed that up. Oh, I'm gonna figure this out right now. Hold on. Have there me and then my nan. I couldn't do a Norse voice if I wanted to. It would just end up being some like racist Swedish thing. I'm gonna save myself. I'm just gonna refer to you as half, because that's gonna save me so much pain in the future. But yeah, so like I said, thanks for hanging out. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. Luckily we got that resolved, and I think we recovered pretty well. But I'm gonna go that's my character's background. Good. Awesome. But I'm gonna go get some sleep. You folks have a wonderful night. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and I will see you next time. Good night.